This is going to be a description of the renovation process and many of the key features and advancements in this 20-foot 1980 Airstream Caravel. The Caravel was a very rare trailer. There were not very many of them made. They were narrow body, very lightweight, and were very similar to some of the Argosy trailers, except they have a fully aluminum skin. When we got this trailer, it was in very bad shape. The interior was this fake plastic stuff instead of the original aluminum skin. There was a significant amount of rust, and the floor was quite rotten. There were leaks in numerous places. The windows needed refurbishment. The biggest problem, though, was the subfloor. The plywood subfloor is an integral component to the Airstream trailer design. It is attached to both the frame and the shell, and is a required component to hold those two things together. We decided when we were going to renovate this that we were going to get rid of the plywood floor. The way that the water gets into the plywood floor is at the back. Right here is shown the rear bumper, and the way this is designed is there's only a thin layer of sealant that keeps water from getting directly from the back of the trailer onto the plywood floor. And almost every Airstream trailer that gets old enough, that lives outside at all, is going to have water that's going to damage the plywood subfloor. And ours is no exception, and that water gets down into the insulation, and you get rats and all kinds of stuff. The roof was also in bad shape and was sealed with gobs of silicone caulk. So we replaced all of these places where there were problems with new patches of high quality aluminum, and this is much better fixed. They're all buck riveted in place, or they use Olympic rivets, which are self-sealing rivets, and all of these seals have been tested over several years and are good. We removed the entire frame from the shell, re-stabilized the frame in a lot of places, fixed a few parts that were a little bit too rusty, and painted the entire frame with POR 15, which is a rust converting paint. Then we painted any exterior surfaces that were going to show with automobile paint in the Airstream blue, and then we had a very strong and well-prepared frame that had some extra reinforcement in the back. The reinforcement is there to provide support for the shower floor, which is also going to be 1/8 inch aluminum plate, and that's spaced so that it won't sag. You can see here the belly pan installed all the way across the trailer with just a few very large sheets, and those are pop riveted to the frame and buck riveted wherever we could get into it. The floor of the trailer with a 1/8 inch aluminum plate is stabilized through the construction of a torsion box, in which aluminum U-channels are attached to the belly pan below and the 1/8 inch floor above, making that spacing consistent, and then 3-inch styrofoam is in there to hold it. We put a few goodies in the floor, including a post holder for a table should it be desired. I have the measurements of exactly where that is, and there's a little magnet in the center of it to help locate it. And this is underneath the vinyl. There's a little cap so you don't even feel that. The aluminum plates are connected by another 1/8 inch flange that holds each piece together. Here you can see the 40-gallon gray tank, which is a really large gray tank, and the plumbing that is built in for the shower. So the hole on the left is the HEPVO valve, that's for the shower drain, and on the right is the drain for the bathroom sink. And those are all go directly into a big 3-inch pipe that goes straight out into the gray tank and then also into the drain. You can see on the left of this picture those 1/8 inch aluminum flanges. And then here is the completed frame and belly pan and floor, and all the plumbing that goes under the floor included sliding back underneath the frame to rejoin the Airstream together. And the frame is attached to the 1/8 inch aluminum plate using 1/4 inch stainless steel screws or machine bolts that have a big washer and a rubber flange to minimize contact between the aluminum and the steel, and those are sealed up and locked with Loctite. This is the newly constructed wheel wells, which are also 1/8-inch aluminum plate, making them incredibly strong and buck riveted together through most of it using aluminum angles. Here is the insulation that is starting with Reflectix for reflective insulation, and then polyisocyanurate sheets, which are molded in and then connected with aluminum tape, and then a final strip of vinyl tape to provide a little bit of a thermal break. After that, the aluminum interior skin came on, and we went with a very traditional starburst pattern on the front and the back of the camper that really accentuates the beauty of the aluminum in this form. And as you can see, as it goes in, the lights went in, about 1 million pop rivets. The replacement axle is shown here. It's a torsion axle provided by Colin Hyde. It is with 3,500 pounds plus the weight of the running gear plus the tongue weight. You're approaching probably 4,500-ish pounds of total vehicle weight allowed, which really gives a lot of addition to the 3,500 original of this camper. So this is quite an upgrade. There's 12-inch electric brakes, which provide great stopping power, and new wheels and tires within the last few years. You can see the stabilizers for the front on each side. Now moving into the electrical system, all the electrical connections are made with these high quality crimps using this Klein crimping tool and sealed with heat shrink tubing. All the wiring goes through conduit. The two main batteries are 6-volt golf cart batteries that are joined together in series to provide a 12-volt system with 200 amp hours. There's a 100 amp fuse and a switch. Here is the SunSaver Duo controller for the solar panels, and here's the remote meter, which is easily accessible from inside the camper. We have two Renogy 12-volt 100-watt panels for 200 watts at 12 volt for solar that have these custom mounting brackets that hold them in but are also removable. There's Blue Sea pass-throughs that allow the power to go through the shell. There's a Furrion 30 amp connector for the main shore power line, which is a marine grade connector. And the solar wiring is all 6 AWG, which is very high level, providing a lot of current. There's conduit to connect to an external outlet, and that's an external grade fixture. The lighting is all LED, focusing on switched LEDs instead of potentiostats for variable lighting because that's more efficient. There's a 12-volt meter down below in addition to the one on the solar controller. The water all comes through these marine-grade stainless steel fittings. Here's the freshwater fill, which uses this little key to open. That freshwater fill is a Sea Dog brown stainless steel. It comes into the main connector. All of the plumbing is 1/2-inch PEX using the PEX crimp connectors. And here is the water inlets as they come in to the two 16-gallon water tanks, fresh water tanks. Those are ganged together using this fat tubing, which, and then this is the hose connector, so you can plug a hose directly into the camper and run water. There's a 6-gallon Atwood gas water heater. This is the internal view, and that is mounted to the exterior and very well insulated. It's a very reliable basic unit with pilot light, and then it's plumbed in using the PEX plumbing and this bypass for setup. So this is looking to the front, and under the front is all of the water systems and some of the electrical systems. This is the Sure Flow water pump, which is a standard. And then as we look up, we see where the 7-pin connector to the trailer comes in. And so this makes it really easy to see how the wiring goes to the car. This is the framing under the bed in the front. You can see, again, use of aluminum angle and sheet and bent bent U-channel along with the angle. This makes for a very lightweight, very strong construction. All the interior cabinetry is built this way. This is the main kitchen. This is the lower part of the bunk bed and the protected area for the water heater. And then where we do attach to the shell, we use these riv nuts and make these riv nut plates that we can rivet in multiple places. This is the connection that has a threaded fitting that holds up the bunk bed. And then the bunk bed also rests on some channels on the wall, and then it is hung from the ceiling in some highly reinforced connections. The bunk bed uses IKEA memory foam mattresses, which are really nice, and the IKEA slats. Shown here is some of the plumbing under the sink. This is where that goes through, and the drain from the sink goes down into the gray tank in the floor. All of the gas connections are double flange connections with copper fittings, or copper tubing and brass fittings, and I made little custom pass-throughs that allow us to go in and out of the trailer when we bring things through. We have a marine grade Newport Dickinson propane furnace, which is excellent for heating and is really high quality and provides a beautiful blue flame. While you're in the camper in the winter, it warms things up really nicely and is really nice. This is looking into the bathroom cabinet. So again, the same kind of construction for the bathroom cabinet. You can see a couple switches and the water inlets in the construction phase. And then just next to that is the composting toilet, which is a urine separating C-head toilet, in which the urine goes directly to the gray tank through a HEPFO valve. So all you have to do when you use this is give it a little squirt of a soapy solution after you use it. It's vented with this 40 millimeter fan, which is a very standard, very low amperage draw fan, which is constantly ventilating the trailer and the toilet area. The curtains are on a double channel from IKEA with an inside curtain, which is light blocking, and then a privacy curtain. In order to install a fantastic fan onto the curved surface of an Airstream, you really have to ensure that the surface is flat. And so in both cases, flanges were built. The front one is easier because it's pretty flat. And so U-channel was put between the outer and inner skin, and an 1/8-inch flange on top was cut. And then that allowed for the installation to be really trouble-free. And also the plastic part of the Fantastic Fan's actually above the surface of the camper. So there's a buck riveted Vulcum seal between the outer skin of the camper and the flange, the 1/8-inch aluminum plate. And then the Fantastic Fan is attached to that flange. And so there's no penetration into the camper. And then the gasket is able to seal to a very flat surface. This is much better than the typical way. In the back, a custom flange had to be built that fit the curve and then resulted in a flat surface. Both of the fans are rain sensing. The front fan is all manual controlled with rain sensing, and the rear fan is remote control. And the final product in both cases is a thing that's really durable. Purchased a deadbolt from Vintage Trailer Supply that is specifically designed for these type of applications. It provides extra security both while you're driving, because these are suicide doors that open the wrong way, and also security on the inside. So there's 2 deadbolts essentially on the inside and 1 on the outside. This is a custom stabilizer for the rear that is super small, and it just deploys when you need it. It uses the square tubing with holes in it, a cotter pin, and little plates that sit on the floor. And what that lets you do is, with the cam strap to pull them together, you just put them in place up against the frame, connect the cam strap, and crank it down, and provide a really high degree of flexibility and stabilization. But also, one of the best things about these is when you're driving, if you hit a bump, they don't get caught. The rear stabilizers in Airstreams are notorious for getting taken out by curbs and other problems. You can see here the Easy Lift weight distribution hitch which allows for moving the weight evenly over your tow vehicle, and this provides a great deal of stability. This is included in the sale and is pretty easy to set up. If we look inside the trailer, we go back to the refrigerator, which is a truck fridge refrigerator, a very large refrigerator that has a Danfoss compressor. This is highly insulated, and we added extra just to try to maximize efficiency. So we use this closed cell foam and then Reflectix around that. And together we provide an extra 3/4 of an inch or so of insulation around the refrigerator, and that allows it to run for a lot longer on a charge of the battery. Just showing some of the cabinetry, it's all finger jointed. All of the drawers are finger jointed. And as you can see here, this is how the joinery goes together. These are the little cabinets that hold the little bin for the garbage and recycling. Just showing some of the details of the construction of the door frame for the bathroom. The bathroom door uses closed cell foam to provide a torsion box, and then also a little bit of plywood to shore things up. If you look under the sink, there's a pump system that we use just for drinking water. You can fill it up from below and pump it through this little Whaler hand pump, and that another marine grade appliance. Just looking at some of the cabinetry that has just a great deal of storage and a lot of flexibility of the inserts, have garbage and recycling easily at hand. And then finally, just a couple of views of the camper from the inside that show it all finished and everything ready for camping. Some of the key features of this Airstream trailer that are unique are the 1/8 aluminum floor, which prevents rust, really lightweight, high quality cabinetry, which is much higher grade than what you would get in a normal camper that's usually made with some composite stuff. Cherry wood finishes throughout the trailer, divided storage, lots of personalized functional storage. A composting toilet that'll let you boondock with a 40-gallon gray tank and 34 gallons of fresh water that'll let you go forever. A full shower that will allow you to take comfortable showers with lots of space in the bathroom, with a sink in the bathroom and a nice mirror. Lots of storage in the bathroom for your toiletries, and just a generally great place to go camping.